morning, good evening, depending on the part of the world where you are right now. I am Tomas Vivanco. I am from Santiago de Chile, but now I am based in Barcelona, Spain. So for me, it's the afternoon, almost evening, summer evening, by the way. So welcome to this workshop. The idea is to discuss and to give you some tools in order to define, let's say, um, some strategies to design for distributed innovation. The main purpose of this workshop as well is to disseminate the work that in the FAB Foundation we have been, sorry, the FAB City Foundation we have been doing related with the distributed learning platform, and specifically with the upcoming Master in Design for Distributed Innovation. Pablo Zuluaga, that is our FAB City moderator, he's been part of this project as well, and Carolina Ferro, that will be joining the workshop too. But for today's workshop, Pablo will be moderating and coordinating everything with you guys. And also Carolina, the three of us, for the ones that doesn't know us, we are part of the FAB City team since this year, I think, right? And hopefully for the upcoming years as well. So, well, Caro, if you want to introduce yourself.
Let me just move to no, it's just a pleasure to be here. So yeah, I started in FAB City Foundation this year together with this amazing team, and we're trying to organize a bit and help building this network. So it's a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Caro. Pablo?
Hello, my name is Pablo Zuluaga. I'm from Bogota, Colombia, and I'm also based right now in Barcelona, having a hot summer afternoon today. And I've been working with Tomas this year in the distributed design and innovation program, and also helping with the communication. And today we're going to do you a workshop about how to create these kind of ideas and also how to communicate them to the world properly. So we hope you enjoy it.
Yep. So as Pablo was saying, today our workshop will be divided into parts. The first one, we're going to give you some small brief presentations. One of the program, let's say, in distributed design, and distributed innovation, that will be, let's say, defining our objectives as well with within the FAB City Foundation. And we will give you a small presentation related with the communication strategies, how we can communicate the things that we do inside our ecosystems, and also how we can not only to communicate, but also to make some connections in order to develop our project. And then we will do a small workshop, a small activities that will be divided in two different groups. So you will be working on groups. The activity will take us around 45 minutes, that we will start from a challenge, and then you will have to, let's say, solve or to identify the needs that you need or the needs that you don't have in order to address that specific challenge within your ecosystem. But before we start, I would like to give you like a Pecha Kucha introduction, that maybe you can introduce yourself like in 1 minute. And we can start with the first person that I have, that is not Caro and it's not Pablo, that is Luis Camacho. Luis, 1 minute.
Hi, thank you, Tomas. My name is Luis Camacho. I'm the Puebla manager from Puebla, Mexico, and I'm very happy to be here. And let's see what new tools are we going to learn today. So thank you, Tomas. Thank you, Pablo, Carolina.
Great, Luis. Very nice to see you. Polarin, you are the next one. I don't know if I pronounce well your name.
Yeah, hi. Do you mean like Thorarin, Sjón? Yeah, my name is Thorarin Bjartur Breiðfjörð. I'm here in Ísafjörður in Iceland. If you know where Iceland is, it's in Europe. And within Iceland, I'm in the Westfjords, which is the west-north part of Iceland. So there are like remote, low-populated area here. We have one Fab Lab here in Ísafjörður, which is a populated town of 2,700 people. and we are very involved in the innovation scene here in the Westfjord. And as in Iceland, the mass of the population is in Reykjavik, and we really want to start like distributing the innovation scene in Iceland throughout the country. And we are constantly looking at what is happening in other regions of the globe. So this is a fantastic platform to be able to hear more what is going on. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Porarin. It's very nice to meet you, and interesting to see how we have different participants from the whole planet, right? From the whole geography. It's very interesting because I work a lot in the southernmost city of the world, in Puerto Williams, Chile, and we have a lot of similarities with Iceland in terms of not only geographic, but also some cultural relationship. So thank you very much.
Great.
And welcome. Yeah,
I will be
Kent.
more of a passive role here, but I look forward to follow up later.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
We will be in touch. Thank you, Kent. You're the next one.
Hi, my name is Kent Slowensky. I'm from a little town called Washington, D.C. And we're expecting temperatures close to 100 degrees. So I'm trying to stay cool and inside.
I hope that you have a sustainable way to keep your body cold, right?
It's completely unsustainable.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Welcome. Very nice to meet you, Kent.
Thank you.
Mai, you are the upcoming, the next one. Mai, you are muted.
Hi everyone, I'm Mai from Ho Chi Minh City. I run a Fab Lab called Fab Lab Saigon. Yeah, it's very nice to be here. It's 11:20 over here, so I don't know for how long I can stay awake. It's very nice to meet you all.
Ni hao. Very nice to meet you too. I hope that, well, we will be we're going to take, I think, that less than 2 hours. So hopefully that you can stay at the end, and we want to be fun also, so you can be entertaining yourself in this workshop. And welcome, and very nice to meet you. And Enrico, you are the next one.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. It's good to see you, Tomas, after a few years. We met in Santiago, if I remember correctly.
Yes, in Santiago.
I'm Enrico Bassi. I'm managing a Fab Lab in Milan called Open Dot. Unfortunately, at the moment, I'm on the go, so I hope the connection is stable and you can hear me properly. Our lab is part of some European projects related to Fab City and the distributed design project done by YAC. And for the distributed design projects, we wrote a contribution that was called the Distributed Innovation. So I'm very curious to understand better what's your point of view and how you want to push this forward. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Enrico, and yeah, very nice to meet you, to see you again. 4 years now on from Santiago, I think it was 2017, if I but don't remember. Yeah, we're getting old. That's what everything means, right? We're going to start doing our presentations. So the first presentation that we prepared to you is about this distributed innovation program that will be led by Fab City Foundation. And the idea here is to also open the conversation, because the program itself is not closed. That means that there is a lot of space to start defining things. But until this point, or until now, we're achieving to a point in where we have a very consistent program that makes a lot of sense. This program was done after at least 40 or 60 different meetings with a lot of people, meetings like this, and some other with individual meetings. And the idea is to give some tools, theoretical, methodological, and technical tools to our Fab cities in order to deploy distributed innovation strategies. Then the second one, as I mentioned before, will be the second presentation will be taught by Pablo, that is about how we can communicate, and then we will going to work in a specific in a specific platform that is Miro. I don't know if all of you are familiar with Miro, but then we will share you a link and we will explain you a little bit about the user environment. So I will share my screen. Can you see my full screen? Or I can't see you, so
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, great. So the program, this program is based on three different columns. The first one is the idea that our ecological floor is completely broken. And it's broken because, as we all know, on July 29th of this year, we already consumed all the resources that the Earth generates in a year. This means that now on, we're going on credit, right? We're exploding much more natural resources that we have. But something very weird happened. With COVID, magically, for the first time in 25 years, this overshot day decreased in 2 months. And the consequences of, if we can extract some positive consequences of COVID, was exactly that, the positive change that we made in our environment. We start to regenerate our environment without even wanting. We all know, maybe many of you saw the environmental reports at the beginning of this week, right? But we are under a huge climate emergency that will make the Earth temperature is increasing consistently. This makes a lot of floods. Imagine that in Brazil, I was reading last week, there is snow in the south of Brazil. In Chile, there is a lack of 95% of snow in the Andes Mountains. This means that it's the most hottest winter that they ever had. This affects to agriculture, this affects to nature, this affects to animals, insects, to the whole ecosystem. And of course, we can take much more, let's say, arguments to define this ecological floor that's broken, right? But we have also a food production problem, right? We will need to produce 70% of much more food in order to feed the increasement of the population. And most of this food is being wasted at the same time. Most of this food, until the industry is achieving right now, is giving meat to people, right? It's producing more meat. So at the same time, apart of we have a broken ecological floor, we have our social contracts that must be somehow readjusted, right? There are some places in order to maintain or to keep our industrialized model. We are having in different countries, we have sacrifices zones. Sacrifices zones are areas where some mining companies or some petrol-based companies are installed, and they kill the whole ecosystem, not only the natural but also the human ecosystem. So our different communities are gathering together in order to be against this new to be against the installation of these factories and industries. So something is changing, right? People now is not taking things for granted. Now people is not accepting everything what they have. And as I mentioned before, also COVID that broke all our supply chains, reduced our mobility, but forcing us at the same time to define the new normals. Somehow the maker movement and the Fab Lab movements are living a second wave, right? And the first one was the emergence of this movement, but now is the importance and the relevance that this movement has in our world, in the innovation ecosystem, but also in the social ecosystems. And the third pillar is that technology must be developed as systems, right? Commonly, we develop technology because we can develop technology or because we like technology. And mainly, in most of the cases, when that technology is developed without a proper, let's say, social support, that technology dies. So we increase entropy. But also technology has several consequences in our planet, because supply chain of the technology manufacturing companies, they starting the cobalt mines made in Congo, right? But at the same time, they end in electronic landfills in Africa. So if we design a technology, we also need to design how this technology will end up, how this technology will die. So we will change the idea of designing specific technological objects to define open technological systems. So our program wants to or meant to integrate technology with communities, but with natural resources. And this is the master or the track or the working track of the design for distributed innovation, right? So, or the objective of this is to develop an hybrid learning experiences with practical applications, connecting people to generate a measurable and positive impact in their communities and bioregions, turning local economies to become planetary conscious, social integrated, and technologically driven. The vision is to change the productive urban model based on a linear and entropic processes. For one, based on circularity, local communities, and digital tools. But also is to form new leaders, to design and build inclusive and sustainable communities, implementing design systems, creating value for social innovation. So we are digitally global connected. We want to generate nodes within the Fab Lab global network. That's our starting point. But at the same time, we want to be global and digital connected for generating remote and in-person learning experiences. So we want to mix both learning experiences like hybrid in between in-person and synchronous and asynchronous timing. But on the top of that, we want to develop learning experiences or learning through impact, but also to impact in local context, right? So an online program that makes everyone or make connections in between people from different places of the world should enhance the fact that that we shouldn't go to other countries to learn or to get some methodological experiences, right? And then to come back to try to deploy those ideas into our countries. The idea is that people can deploy those ideas locally and to learn by doing, right? So we're going to focus in a very wide student profile that we want to we're going to be oriented to change makers, to active people who wants to make sustainable social, environmental, and economical local transformations from their post-professional and academic environments. So a graduate of a program will be a person who wants to engage with their communities and their industry, but also that wants to make positive changes from inside the local organizations and cities. So we're going to impact in a whole ecosystem in between supply production chains with communities and cooperatives, urbanism, but with municipalities, with sustainable entrepreneurship, trying to impact public policies, and of course the creative industries that we are on. So the program will generate a taxonomy of the SAP of the Fab City Strategic Action Plan that we have been working in the past 6 years that now have some small updates. So the ground level that is developing infrastructure or for distributed infrastructure is a grassroots infrastructure that we recognize that this already exists. Many of you works already in a Fab Lab or already have an infrastructure to deploy projects. So the program will be a taxonomy in the upper levels of the Fab City Strategic Action Plan. So the first two levels will be packed in a question that will be how would we design? So we'll develop techniques for making. The second or the fourth and fifth level will be why we design. We will give methodologies for innovate. And then the last two levels will be where we design, the context. And in the context, we will deploy some strategies and implementations. So at the same time that the program meant to be distributed in a way that is digitally and that mix digital and in-person learning experience, we're going to want to promote the continued distribution also of knowledge, right? To raise new voices, to raise diversity, and to embrace that global differences that we already have, to embrace, to engage with different cultures. So the program is going to be a 60% of global seminars, we will have 20% of a local studio and then a 20% of totally local seminars with mixing global tutors with local structures and of course local structure by themselves. So our three main questions, why, how, and where we design, will be organized into three different modules, module number 1, number 2, and number 3. And in each of these modules, we'll be working in specifically like in different strategies. Like we're going to, in why we design, the methodologies, we're going to teach students to design systems. And in how we design in model number 1, systems mixing bio and digital fabrication, and where we design is with the scale or the context of the fab labs and neighborhoods. In model number 2, we're going to have methodologies for design technologies. We're going to have techniques for prototyping these technologies, and then we want to impact our cities. And then in the third module, we want to focus on how we design interventions, how we evaluate those interventions, and how we impact our bioregions. So the three questions will be organized in three different modules, as I mentioned before, but last we will have a final project implementation. So the three tracks, this technology, communities, and resources, will be applied in a studio track. So the first seminar will be design tools, a second seminar that is oriented to communities with planetary oriented design, how we design with diversity. Then in resources, we're going to have a course, a seminar called how we design for metabolism. Then bioethics, mixing nature, technology, and communities, and then a system design studio. In model number 2, how we design, we'll have some design tools, prototyping techniques. We'll have a communities and perspective that will have a very interesting seminar that will be mixing like Buddhism with technologies in a way that how we design holistic technologies. And then a biomass-based economy that is a completely change of the idea of the circular economy. We want to orient it to biomass ecology. Then in the technology perspective, in this model, we'll have a Human++, where we can measure our biological interactions in between people and objects, in between people and transport systems, in between buildings. Also, how we design with low energy materials, like what a biomaterial is, how we can design from a biomaterial to a new way of producing things, right? And then a technology design studio. And then in the last module, in module number 3, we're going to have like project and impact and evaluation, how we define policies, how the regulations affects the way how we design a public policy, how we design an object. Also, we're going to teach to our communities about crowdfunding, sustainable entrepreneurship, and new businesses models. And there is a beautiful, beautiful seminar that is called Earth Sentinels, where we're going to have new voices that are not, let's say, heard so much in the world, like the indigenous communities, like pueblos originarios, we say in Spanish, like the original, the voice of the different Indians in the world, where they are keeping track or they're keeping or protecting our natural environments. Also, we're going to have a focus on on service design, but in how we design for territorial innovation. So we're going to mix both visions, right? One super focused on entrepreneurship and the agency of innovation, but also at the same time in the consciousness of the planet. And then at the end, we're going to have a cross seminar of bioregional matters for how we scale from the fab labs to cities, and then a final studio that is going to be called Distributed Innovation Design Studio. So in the last month, students will have to develop in collaboration with a fab city their final projects. So this is more or less the overview of what we are thinking about distributed learning, and I'm going to give the pass to Pablo, and then maybe we can have a 5 minutes conversation, and then we're going to move to our second step of our workshop that is going to be focused on the Miro boards. Pablo, the scenario is all yours.
Thank you, Tomas. Okay, hello everyone again. Wait, let me share. No, this is not. Wait. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Thank you. Okay, so after Tomas has just presented the program, after in the end, we're gonna do a brief exercise on how to create ideas that come from the Fab cities, from the, as he said, like using this SAP or the concept of going from neighborhoods into cities, into bioregions. But something pretty important that the Fab cities, we think that need to have, it's a way to communicate better their ideas. This guideline, it's actually a set of tools that will help you communicate your Fab cities from the projects that you build in your Fab Lab to the world. We do amazing projects in the Fab Labs right now or in the Fab cities, but not all of them are properly communicated in a way that they could give us more PR, get us more allies, and get more people involved in our beliefs. I come from the advertising world before being a maker and a Fab Academy certificate and doing a master in design for emergent futures. I used to work in advertising for 12 years and communication. So what I want to do today is I'm going to steal a model, and it's the case video model that the advertising agencies use to show the ideas they do to the world, or the ones that they send to advertising festivals, which is like a pretty clear structure. For some of you, it's going to be weird, but why are we talking about advertising and marketing, which is right now like the evil or the dark side for some of us? They're really good communicating what they do. And right now, marketing brands have changed the way they communicate, from communicating from the product to communicate from the purpose. People doesn't buy anymore what you sell. They buy the reason why you do it. I mean, the brands are starting to talk about the purpose that goes way beyond generating income. So, for example, a few years ago, Volkswagen had this idea. Volkswagen, everyone knows they sell cars, but they were addressing some problems in the city, simple problems, like people was using too much electric staircases and they were not using the normal ones. So what they did, they turned these common staircases into a piano, just to promote the people to use the staircases. Also, they turned a basket, a normal garbage basket, into a tunnel that has a sound when you throw trash into it, just to promote the people to throw trash into the basket case. So each time someone threw something in the case, it would do a sound like if it didn't have bottom. It was just a simple way to promote things. I'm just showing you a little bit of ideas. I'm going to show you after some case videos of some ideas I like that might give you a little bit of the structure. But the ideas that I want to show you are ideas that I think that could have been done in a Fab Lab or in a Fab City to solve or to address a problem. And each one of these addresses a problem of a community or a region, a city, and the brand, it's sometimes in some sort of way like related or not that much related to it, but that's what brands are doing. They're looking for ideas right now and almost branding them and sending them to advertising festivals. So if we are already change makers, ideas creators, why don't we use the same strategy or the structure or learn from the communication? Neil was saying it this week that I think it was the Physical Society of America wants to bring filmmakers and screenwriters to work with scientists to help them communicate their ideas. I think that's a weak point. So I'm going to just show you a little bit of case videos. Let me just open them. I'm going to change into the YouTube. I think it's this one. Share with sound. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble with my internet right now loading the video.
In Cambodia,
I think I'm having problems reproducing the video, so if not, I'm gonna share the links with you guys so you can see them. But then I'm gonna wait.
population are severely
let's see if this one
anemic
reproduces.
because their diet.
Paulo, I can see an image of the video.
Diet of fish and rice contains very
loading,
little
but-
iron.
Yeah, it's like
It's
freezing.
loading.
Yeah, let me see if I can pause it and start it all over.
In Cambodia, half the population are severely anemic because their diet of fish and rice contains very little iron. Iron deficiency is the cause of many health problems and pregnancy complications, like premature births and miscarriages and even deaths. Iron pills are available but are far too expensive, so we needed to find a cost-effective solution. That's when we knew this had the power to change it all. We worked out that cooking with a piece of iron for 10 minutes could provide a family with up to 75% of their daily iron intake. The challenge was getting them to use it. They did, but just not for cooking. So we had to dig deeper if we wanted to help. And we found this, a cultural symbol of hope and good luck. The lucky iron fish. And the community has embraced it. Our team has been going out educating, promoting, and encouraging more families to use the iron fish. And the results have been life-changing. After only 9 months of regular medical trials and testing, we have seen a 50% drop in iron deficiencies and helped 54,800 people feel healthier and happier. The best part is, this is a sustainable solution, made from recycled material that undergoes strict quality control tests, handmade and packaged by the local community. The project provides hundreds of jobs along the way.
Lives, and recently it received the stamp of approval from former U.S. President Bill Clinton.
The Lucky Iron Fish is now a registered company for good, giving us the power to help millions of families around the world. Let's put a fish in every pot.
So this idea was sponsored by a brand, and wait, I'm gonna stop sharing, pause share. I'm gonna jump into another one. Wait, stop share. So I'm gonna show you another one, which is I'm gonna show you another one, which was made in. This was made in Peru. Just wait, I'm loading it before sharing it. Okay. And, now soon share. Yeah. Share with sound. Okay.
UTech, the University of Engineering and Technology, was about to open the application period for 2013, so they needed to call students' attention. Lima and its surrounding villages are located in the coastal desert of Peru. In this place, there are many people suffering from the lack of potable water.
Acá en este pueblo de Pujama, todos, mayoría sacamos agua del pozo. Y no es agradable y es contaminado.
The presence of rain in this region is almost zero, but the atmospheric humidity is about 98%. Inspired by this, we worked as a team, UTech and the agency, to build the first billboard that produces drinking water out of air. The billboard has a unique technology that captures the air humidity and turns it into drinking water.
Cada generador atrapa lo que es la humedad del ambiente. De ahí pasa un sistema de osmosis inversa. Cada tanque almacena por medio de 20 litros. Las 5 máquinas van a hacer este proceso y se va a almacenar todo en un solo tanque.
The billboard has already produced thousands of liters of drinking water. That equals the water consumption of hundreds of families per month.
¿No? Que pongan en diferentes lugares, ¿no? Si es posible en cada anexo, en cada caserío, en cada pueblo, para que el agua sea generada por medio de los paneles, ¿no? Un agua que realmente nos da vida, ¿no?
Okay, so like this, the advertising world, wait, I'm gonna share again my presentation. The advertising world, it's full of these kind of ideas right now. Actually, not all of the people knows them. They participate in a lot of advertising festivals, or sometimes are the videos that our mother or aunt or someone shares on Facebook. So they are really shareable videos, and that's the strength that they have right now. But what I like about this is that I believe that these are kind of ideas that we can also create in a Fab Lab. I could send you the links after of the other ones, but the Samsung blind cap, it's just a vibration sensor in a swimming cap with a Bluetooth device for the blind swimmers of the Olympics, so that the trainer just clicked a button and it rumbles in the head or vibrates, and he knows when it has to turn. The water billboard, as you saw, it was a condensation system to get water from the air. The paper glasses are laser cutted paper glasses that, depending of the distance or how you use them, they help kids to focus and to solve some visual problems. So there are a lot of ideas that actually, when I came from the advertising side into the maker side, it was because I wanted to know how to make the ideas. I had a lot of ideas, but didn't know how to make them. But I think that now that I'm on this side, I think that we need to know how to communicate them. So in the Mastering Distributed Design and Innovation, we have defined our purpose, and we believe that this purpose also might be similar than with the one of the Fab Cities and with a lot of the Fab Labs. We think that we exist to enable potential by pioneering transformation for the good of the planet. So as long as we have projects that respond to this belief or this purpose, we're going to be aligned. And even though if each one of our labs could do a project which a local problem, maybe using the strategy that Tomas is going to show you later, we could generate a whole communication empowering the Fab Cities, or helping the Fab Cities to tell to the world what they're doing in a different way. As I said, we empower people by giving them tools, skills, and methodologies for them to turn into change makers and be able to design ideas, products, and policies that will make the world a better place in a certain way. So what do we need for these ideas to be powerful? First, we need to be sure that we address an issue that is relevant for our community, our neighborhood, our city, or our bioregion, or the world. Like right now, for example, we have seen the ICPP global research they just presented this week. Or maybe you could ally with an ONG or NGO or an institution that works on a certain topic Greenpeace, Save the Children, United Nations, you name it. Someone that it's, all of these institutions they have problems that need solutions. We have solutions. So if we connect with them, maybe we can do great allies, or we can find great allies to create amazing projects that could give our labs and our cities and the things that we're doing a lot of PR, not only locally, but also globally. We need to do a brainstorming session. It could be a design thinking process, or the one that fits best for you, to try to find solutions that we can make with the things that we have in our lab, or if not, which things do we need to get, or with whom do we need to contact to make these ideas. For example, these are some rollerblade wheels made out of gums, of chew gums, that were picked up on the streets, and they're created by the brand Shoes Vans. Then we're going into the prototyping and deployment into society. And in this time, it's pretty important. Sometimes we create ideas, we deploy them, but we forget to documentate them. We need to document when we get the material, when we build them, when we give it to the people, interview the people after. Like, imagine the 2 case videos I just showed you with interviews of people, with everything, like all the process, how they build the fish, how were they getting the materials. All of this content, it's going to be pretty important for us later on to create a PR newsletter or a case video, if it's the other way around. And also having the proper data about the issue. How many people it's suffering from that issue? If I managed to create a solution, how many people was saved, helped, or how many problems of these were solved? You saw that in the fish, they were saying, hey, after this 50%, there was a 50% reduction in the iron consumption, whatever. So the data, it's also pretty important for what we want to say. And I'm going to show you 2 communication assets, which are the case video, which is what we saw. Basically, something pretty important. Music in the video is very important because music generates emotions, and emotions moves people's hearts and minds. Voiceovers gives tones to the communication. So maybe you will need to have a voiceover or a powerful voice for your case video. Right now, there are distributed platforms where you can hire someone from London or whatever, that mostly for countries or speakers that are not English language speakers. Anyway, you can do it also in your main in your main language, if that's the community you want to engage with. Subtitles are a key, because right now people watches a lot of these videos muted, because they watch them in the middle of a meeting or while they're doing something else. So subtitles are key right now. And the time, right now people has a lack of attention, so videos shouldn't be more than 1 minute 30 to 2 minutes max. So if you would have a structure for this video, I would say use the first 20 seconds to explain the context and why that problem is relevant into your community. We're suffering from this and this and this and this, or we had a hurricane and this and this and this. We're suffering extreme floods, fires, whatever it's happening. Then 30 seconds explaining the solution and its production. That's why we created, or we are working together with the United Nations to create the keychain that calls mom, whatever. And then explain how the execution and the deployment in the community and the results, how you created it, how it worked, how the community received it, how it was this incursion into how you socialize the idea. And then if you have results, go for it. If not, you can also give always a call to action, inviting people to join. It depends of the action. I'm going to explain that in 2 slides, but it depends of the action, the desired action you want from your stakeholder. Do I want him to inscribe into my Fab Lab? Do I want it to be part of the Fab City? Do I want to study the Mastery in Design and Distributed Innovation program? Do I want people to, I don't know. So those last 10 videos are the ones where you say click the link, call us, invite us, apply to our program, whatever. And in a pretty similar structure, there's the press release. For this press release, I use the elevator pitch structure, which is our 4 steps. So first, you need to have 3 to 4 product shots and good product shots of the project that you can send to media, PR. You can send them to local media, specialized media, or even client media, or maybe for the client to create their own video or to share them in their newsletters or wherever. That's going to help us a lot to promote the ideas. Then the same as before, but this one has a little bit more content. Explain the problem, explain the solution that might not have worked. Okay, kids are dying, are suffering from hunger in Colombia, blah, 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 blah. The government created these kind of meals, but they are not working that good, or they have a lack of nutrients or whatever. So that's why we created blah, 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 this new idea that it's gonna solve this problem. Then you explain how the idea works and how to solve how your solution addresses the problem. Then explain the results if they're available, and then explain what it's your Fab Lab or which is your mantra. As this is inspiring the mastering design and distributed innovation. That's why I always invite you to, if you are going to be part of the labs or the cities that are coming to be part of the master, that use also this structure to gather people for you to study in your labs, to be part of your projects, and also to be part of the master. And one last thing, this is a tool I stole from Kate Armstrong from Barcelona, and also the Fab City Foundation. It's going to help you communicate with different stakeholders like government institutions, NGOs, university, prospect, alumni, whoever. Because we need to understand that it's not the same message. Even though we want to say the same, we don't tell it the same way to a friend, or to our father, to our grandfather, to a teacher, or to our boss, or to a colleague. So depending of the desired action, the key message that we want to give, the barriers of communication that we have with this person, and also the media that we have to communicate with him, the message is gonna mutate, or it's gonna change. So you can, if you want, you can take a screenshot of this. But basically it's identify the who's your audience, who do you want to talk with? Do you want to talk with policymakers, government institutions? Do you want to talk with universities, schools, with local communities, with makers, maker spaces, you name them? Which is going to be the objective? Why do you want to communicate with them? I want to promote my project, I want to get some funding from them, blah, blah, blah. Which are the barriers that you might have with the communication with them, or working with them? Okay, maybe they don't answer emails properly, they are always busy. So identify the barriers, identify the key messages that you want to tell to each one, and these key messages are also going to depend on the desired actions that you want them to make. Because as I was saying, maybe the government, you just want them to fund you. Maybe the universities, you want to, I don't know, promote or support or give you accreditations for your program. Or maybe you want a new student. So the action is also different. And the media, when we speak about media, generally we have 3 kinds of media: paid, owned, and earned. Owned, it's your personal media, your website, your Facebook, your Instagram. Owned are the medias of your partners and allies. If you are working with, or you are part of a university, you know that you can make use of that university, of maybe the Fab Foundation or the Fab newsletter or whatever. And the paid are the ones that you pay for a specific thing. Sorry, I think I took more time than I was expected to, but now I'm gonna give it back to Tomas to continue the rest of the workshop. Thank you for your attention, guys.
Thank you very much, Pablo. Then we will send you. Then we will send you this presentation, so then you can have this communication canvas. So then you can use it as a tool within your ecosystems. So now we're going to pass to the Miro to work a little bit on Miro. I don't know if you know or you have previously worked on Miro boards. So if you have worked on Miro, please point your thumbs up in Zoom. Maybe you can use like
use the icon.
The icon. Whoop. Exactly.
Yep.
No one in reactions. You go only 2, 3 with Caro. No one else. Okay, good. So I have just shared you a link on the chat box. So if you click in that link, you have to put like, well, in my case, I have the app installed already, but then you will go and see some boards. Okay. If any of you have any problems with accessing into the Miro board, please put your thumbs up and then we can help you on the back. We are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, but we should be 8. So we're going to wait a little bit. 4, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're everyone almost there. I will be sharing my screen, so also you can see it. So we're going to divide, I'm going to split into groups, then we'll name it. But as you can see here, we have group number 1 and below group number 2, of course. And then here we put a quote of the IPCC co-chair talking the IPCC report regarding like climate change is already affecting every region on Earth in multiple ways. The change we experience will increase in the additional warming. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some challenge. We're going to address this climate change challenge with only one idea, one very simple idea. One may be related with what Pablo was just presented, right? So we're going to do in between the groups, we're going to discuss a little bit and to deploy or to, let's say, raise a very simple idea that first you will have to solve it in level number 1, that is the scale of FabLab. You can follow my mouse pointer just clicking over the image of my face that is on the top right of the Miro screen. So if you click over my beautiful face, you will be following me. I was just kidding about the beautiful. We're going to work, as I mentioned, in 3 different levels. So the first one is the level of the FabLab. The second one is the level of the neighborhoods and community. And the third one is the level of the city and bioregions. So in each level, we're going to make the same questions. What do I have actually in technologies? What do I have in knowledge? And also in alliances. And then we need to, in order to deploy our idea, we will need to answer what do I need in technologies? What do I need in knowledge and skills analysis? And then if we deploy our idea in the current state of our ecosystem or the, let's say, innovation ecosystem that is a FabLab or could be a FabLab, then we'll have to point with some sticky notes the expected outcome. And then we will take that expected outcome and we're going to deploy our idea in the scale of the neighborhoods and community. So we're going to make the same questions again. What I have in considering technologies, probably here, now we cannot think maybe too much in, let's say, a 3D printer to print something or to print something big. Maybe we need to start thinking in new, in a bigger production lines, right? So what do we need in between knowledge and skills, and then what do I need? Then we're going to, let's say, put some sticky notes in the expected outcome of this in the scale of the neighborhood and community. This means the results of our idea, and then we're going to do the same again in the city and bioregion scale. Please in order to solve to answer these questions, you have to take any sticky notes. You can just copy and paste them, and you can move them, or and then if you double click over a sticky note, then you can write whatever you want. Okay, so if you want, different or group members can use a different color. If you want, you can change the color, just clicking the sticky note and then changing the rounded or circular icon that is with the colored circular icon, and then you can change the color. And also, if you just drag one of the corner of the sticky notes, you can make it bigger or smaller. Okay, so you're going to have 15 minutes maximum, maybe 10, in between each of the levels. So at the end, we're going to have a small roundtable explaining which are the biggest difficulties of the biggest constraints that you see in order to deploy your project in different scales. Okay, and then you will explain a little bit what was your idea. And Pablo, I don't know if you want to complement something of the from the first part of select this one of the challenges of selecting the challenges. Okay, Pablo. Hola, hola. Can you?
Sorry. I was missing the. I wasn't able to find the Zoom again. Yeah.
No, I thought that my internet connection was off. Right?
No, don't worry. So yeah, as you can see, we took 6 little ideas that came from the IPCC report. So you can select anyone that you want. I think that we're gonna split into 2 groups right now. So maybe we can, after we split you into groups, they're gonna be, you could work in maybe the idea that you think that it's more related to your bioregion. We know that we're, as Tomas said, we have people from Mexico, Iceland, Asia, Washington, so it's kind of mixed. But we have climate change, it's intensifying the water cycles, or climate change is affecting rainfall patterns, or coastal areas will see continued sea levels rise throughout the 21st centuries, or further warming will amplify permafrost thawing and the loss of seasonal snow cover, or changes in the ocean, including warming, more frequent marine heat waves, whatever, or also the changes in climate that are gonna affect the cities. You can read them a little bit in deep in a while, but the idea is that each group selects one, create a quick idea. It doesn't matter. It's just for the exercise wise, and then do all the process that Tomas was telling you. So I don't know. Let's see how we should divide you.
I can make the split of the groups.
Okay, perfect.
I will split the groups. So Luis have to go. So we're going to be like 4 in one group and 4 in the other. So maybe Pablo, you can take. Then you will be someone new is coming. So Pablo, then you can take maybe one group. So you will be with 3 and I will be with another group with 3. And then the idea is to meet back in 40 minutes, 40 minutes at maximum. So we're going to have like 10 minutes in between each of the levels. Okay, so then we can have a brief discussion in between all of us. Okay, so I will split this in groups. You will be assigned. Let me, how can I assign that? So, okay. So 1, 2, 3. Pablo. Pablo, I think that I can't assign you.
Yeah, I think I have to do it.
Yeah, I think that you okay. So
okay, so do you want to tell me how do you want to?
You can, I don't mind, just how about, let's say, a diverse group. So it can be 1.
So I think I'm gonna do it in order of how they appear in here to
Or
me.
you want?
So Carolina,
Pablo,
dime.
sorry to interrupt. I have to stay 10 minutes, then I have to
don't
leave
worry.
to moderate another session.
Don't worry.
But I'll be in the next 10 minutes, but just to
Don't
let
worry.
you
Don't
know.
worry. Don't worry.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, I'll put you in a group. Yeah, and the follow. Perfect. I think I'm gonna exchange. No, move to. Okay, I think you just received an invitation to join into your breakout room.